Please give an energetic and warm welcome to the one and only Amogh Lila Prabhu Ji.
So there was one case, the person had 7 marks on his body. And the previous life, as he was a gangster, so there was stabbing, so the person marked in 7 places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exactly in the same places. Crores of rupees of drugs, heroin, etc. They come from the neighboring countries. We have got 2 friendly countries. One is Pakistan, one is China. Very friendly countries of India. So they supply drugs to India so that the youth, the intelligentsia of India can become dumbo-fied.
It was such an honor sitting down with Amogh Lila Prabhu Ji, the Vice President of ISKCON Dwarka in Delhi. He was so fun, so interactive, so energetic. Honestly, one of the most energetic people I've ever met in my life, and just so positive overall. We discussed everything from the negative effects of drugs to pornography. And if you watch this video till the very end, I'm telling you, I learned something from him. You will surely learn something from this as well. Do watch this video and do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. Krishna Prabhu Ji.
Hare Krishna, Anand.
I'm so grateful that you're here. It's such an honor. So thank you so much for coming here. Just having this conversation with you is such a big deal for me. You can't even imagine.
Thank you very much for inviting me under the tree.
Of course, of course. Now, my first question is, being an actor, I've personally seen the false selves that people have to put up in the industry, and I can see the unhappiness within them. Many of these people are successful and famous, and it's almost like their true self is yearning for something else. Why is it that even after accomplishing their dreams, reaching that fame and success, that they aren't happy?
We have got physical needs, we have got mental needs, we have got egoistic needs, intellectual needs, and on the top there is the need of self-actualization. That means spiritual need. That means spirituality is our need. And they do not fulfill this need. This need is always starving. You know, physical needs we fulfill. We go to gym, we have nice eating and sleeping and all that. Very good. Social needs. Hey, hi, how are you doing, man? Social needs met. Yes. Intellectual needs, in case you learn something new. So intellectual need is also met. Egoistic need is also met when somebody appreciates us. Yeah, you are so good, man. You are such a darling. Egoistic need is also fulfilled. But what about the spiritual need? That spiritual need remains orphan. And that's why even people, they are successful. They have all the money, fame, selfies, autographs. Yet, they are not happy because the core is not happy. Among all the needs, physical needs, social needs, intellectual needs, egoistic needs, at the core, the nucleus, like in an atom, there is nucleus. Yeah. So, of all the needs, the nucleus is spiritual need. And the nucleus is starving. So, electron wala part, wow. But that part is empty. There is no substance inside. I can relate. Yeah, so that's why iron has to be converted into gold by some metallurgical process. Yeah. Some kind of heating and hammering and boiling and all of that. Then iron can also be converted into gold. So similarly, the heart has to be transformed. It has to be beautified. That's very important. Mostly you see that such people who are actors from glamour industry, they are attractive people. Yeah. Because externally they are very beautiful. They are gorgeous. But in case somebody is externally beautiful, that person is attractive. But in case somebody is internally beautiful, that person is captivating. And which is more important, to be attractive or to be captivating? To be captivating, obviously. So that's why we are to become internally beautiful as well. Exactly. Not just externally, very good, Exactly. But when comes anxiety, when comes chaos in life, then this will not help. This will help when we have the inner strength. Because your now happiness, it requires validation. Yeah. It has to be validated by somebody else. How many likes do I have in my pic? How many likes? How many people positively commented? One negative comment, depression. I know people who commit suicide even when they say negative comment. Yeah, you know, that's why they say just switch off this comment part. I just can't tolerate this negative comments. I can't handle criticism. Yeah. I can't take feedback. Totally agree. Yeah, so that's why we have to make that heart humble as well, prideless as well, which comes naturally by devotion, because they're not doing it. So this external veneer, which is very glamorous, which is golden, It is not going to last. It is not going to. So we have to take care of that aspect as well. Once I was flying in Virgin Atlantic, so there's one air hostess, she came to me. So we like to have veg and non-veg, sir? I said, well, neither of them. Thank you very much. I have my stuff. Thank you. So after some time, I went to the loo. So the same air hostess, she was sitting and she was weeping, why me? Why me again? I liked him so much. Why me? Oh, so sad. Cutie pie. So all prayers for you. So again, I went back to my seat. The same air hostess who was weeping, again, she was there in the next seat and she was saying, would you like to have veg and non-veg, sir? No, people follow mannerism outside. Hey, how are you doing? I'm fine, thank you. Yeah. This artificial mannerism is substanceless. So more we are substantially happy, then we see that other person would be happy coming in touch with such a person who is genuinely happy. Yeah. No artificiality, nothing. This is the way I am. Pure gold. Yeah. So we should try to do that. So because people from this glamour industry, because they do not do this, and that's why we see that they are not satisfied. And because they are not satisfied, so those who come in their touch, they are also not satisfied. How can two beggars make each other millionaire? So you are a beggar, I am a beggar. Let me loot you, you loot me. Can you become millionaire? No. Not possible. It's impossible. Impossible. Yeah. So that's why that's the condition in this world. Yeah. I love you too. I don't have love, you also don't have love. So what kind of love each of us will have? Nothing. So that's why we have to bring more substance, spiritual substance in our lives. When we do this, then we can handle fame as well. Yeah. I know people who become even, they are fried out even with fans. Fans come out of love. Sir, can I have a selfie? Please, can you please leave me? Oh. I want some privacy, man. So, but I love you to hell with your love. They can't handle love. They can't handle it because they are prone to get agitated. You know. So there has to be that equanimity should be there, and that comes by devotion. So they can't even reciprocate with love. People come with love. So can I have an autograph? Can I have a selfie with you? They become angry on their fans. Yeah. Oh. So that's why somewhere that thing has to bring in themselves. Like Elvis Presley, after the performance, he came to the edge of the stage. Yeah, he took off his pant, took off his underwear, and he urinated on the audience. And people were bathing, this droplet will purify me from material existence. Whoa, really? Is that so? Yeah. But is that a kind of respect we should have towards people? Absolutely not. Of course not. Yeah. So Samir, this external opulence is not really a great achievement. Yeah. More important than that is to win over one's own mind, oneself. So self-conquest is the greatest victory. That's what we should be focusing on. Self-conquest. Self-conquest.
And to the youth who are depending on external substances such as alcohol and drugs to remain so-called happy in their lives, why is this not a permanent solution to get rid of the sorrow and problems that life throws at you? Weed has become legal in so many parts of the world, like New York, and the youth is doing these drugs, to escape depression. Why do you think that's not the solution?
$150 million of intoxicants in terms of wine and all is imported from the other countries because we are not able to produce sufficient supply. Guys, please give us. Crores of rupees of drugs, heroin, etc. They come from the neighboring countries. We have got two friendly countries. One is Pakistan, one is China. Yeah. Very friendly countries of India. So they supply drugs to India so that the youth, the intelligentsia of India can become dumbo-fied. So that's what is happening nowadays. In the West also we see that in the way to explore. Let's explore. Yeah. What will you explore, you fool number one? What will you explore? Yeah. So when there is no knowledge, so exploration becomes a destructive activity. Mm-hmm. So then in a spree to explore, they also explore drugs. But in this spree, they get intoxicated. And once they get intoxicated, the intelligence becomes bound. When the intelligence is bound, then you cannot really think the way you should be thinking. You cannot do that. So that's why drugs make us ultimately zombies. You've seen zombies? Yeah. So that's a way to make ourselves zombies. That means because the intelligence goes dull. I asked when I was in USA, so I asked my boss's boss. I said, why is it that the jobs, they come to India? He said, because most of the youngsters in USA and Europe as well, they are drug addicts. because Ohio is in center of America, and that has a mafia for supplying drugs. So all the universities and colleges, they get drugs, and and in case you are not taking drugs, you are abnormal. Come on, man.
Exactly.
You justify your existence in this community when you are taking some kind of intoxicant, which with such hard labor, a regular supply is coming from Ohio. So in this way, drug is supplied, and then youth, they become drug addicts. And that's why many of the jobs, they come from USA to India. Not that American youth, they are not intelligent, but they get intoxicated with this cheap fun. And that's why the jobs, they come to India. Of course, now India is also on the same trail, on the same path. Many of the youth, they are addicted to so many different kind of drugs because they're also exploring. Yes, let's explore and then enjoy. Yeah. And then they are also becoming zombies nowadays. So that's why. So it's a threat to the youth. In order to make them physically weak, mentally weak, emotionally bankrupt, and spiritually far, far away, this is one-stop shop. Make them addicts. So we are to give them spiritual substance. And we see that during Vietnam War, when there was hippie culture and people were addicted to drugs. So such case studies are also there. And such people who are living such irresponsible life transformed into super responsible lives. Yeah. Wow. What a transformation. So he used to say, well, when you take drugs, you go high, but then you come down as well. And then again, you have to take drugs so that you go high, but again, after some time, you come down. I will give you something by which you can stay high forever. Yes, Swamiji, is there something by which we can stay high forever? Yes. And then he gave them Krishna consciousness, this devotion to Supreme Lord Krishna. When he gave them this, and the result was so clearly, tangibly visible, transformed, absolutely purified, and they are living such pure life, getting up in the morning, taking bath, eating pure vegetarian food, offered to the Supreme Lord, chanting of the holy names, caring for others, distributing the holy literature, the holy message. Wow. So just see the transformation. So that's why we have to give them this higher taste. Lower taste would always be captivating us, in case there is no other choice. But when we have the higher taste, naturally one gives up the lower taste. So how can somebody give up the lower taste? By having the higher taste. So drugs, they are having their own taste. Illicit sex is having its own taste. Money, power, post, position, it has its own taste. Yeah. So we are to give the higher taste, then one naturally, easily, seamlessly, effortlessly gives up the lower taste.
And the very fact that we will not take any fame, money, or relationships with us when we die and leave this body shows that our life purpose is not materialistic success. If so, what is the soul's life's purpose?
The soul's life purpose is to revive our love for God. That's the ultimate purpose. In between, I can have other purposes, like, for example, getting a nice job, taking care of my family, their physical needs, their emotional needs. I should be a very responsible citizen. Yeah. So that way, these are some mini purposes as well, which we fulfill, and we should do that. Taking care of the health. Yeah. So these are some of the mini purposes which we should take care of. And ultimately, the purpose is to revive our love for the Supreme Lord. So both the purposes are to be taken care of in parallel, and both they nourish each other. In case you are healthy, you can. So that's why then you would see that it is easier for you to execute spirituality. And in case you are becoming spiritual, so you are able to see that your physical health also gets positively impacted by being spiritual. When your mind is good, your physical health also gets positively impacted by your good mental health. And good mental health naturally comes by bhakti, by devotion. So in this way, we see that both the purposes, they mutually nourish each other, they help each other, they support each other, and ultimately we revive the ultimate purpose, which is to revive our genuine, pure, sublime, devotional, ecstatic, euphoric love for Supreme Lord.
And when we talk about spirituality for the youth, it's very difficult to eliminate things like desires, relationships, and pleasure seeking completely. How can we practically implement the teachings from the Bhagavad Gita on a daily basis without having to fully renounce these things?
Lord Krishna says you don't have to renounce. Who can really renounce? Who has something? Everything is actually owned by the Lord. So what can we renounce? So what we can do, we have to dovetail everything in spirituality. Like, for example, we Hare Krishnas, we also eat nice food. Yeah. We also have noodles. We also have pasta. We like it. Oh yes, of course we like it. But we offer it to the Supreme Lord, and then have it. You like singing and dancing? Of course. Who doesn't like singing and dancing? But we can sing Hare Krishna and we can dance on the holy name as well. Why not? So singing and dancing, that's also there. We Hare Krishna, as we get up at 4 o'clock, 4:30 we start singing and dancing. Who in this world starts singing and dancing at 4:30 a.m.? No one between you. Who gets a chance to dance on the roads? You know, Hare Krishnas are famous, whether roads from Russia or roads in America or Canada or India or in even Pakistan, there are devotees chanting and singing on the roads. Yeah. Wow, that's very good. In terms of relationships, we have got such big friend circle. There are so many devotees. They are my friends. They are my brothers, my sisters. Wow. So who has asked you to give up the relationships? We make everything Krishna-centric or God-centric. That's it. We don't have to renounce anything. Just like before independence of India, everything was, in terms of clerical work, everything was same. And there used to be a stamp of the East India Company. Yeah. But after 26th of January 1950, when India became a republic, so then everything was working same. All clerks are same, the clerical work, the official work, the administrative work, everything is same. But now there is Government of India stamp. Everything is same, but the stamp is now different, right? Earlier it was East India Company, now it is Government of India. So similarly, we are to just, that activity we don't have to change, but the consciousness behind that activity, that we are to change. More you make it devotional, spiritual, God-centric, so that activity becomes spiritual. Even when you are working, well, why can't you work for the Supreme Lord? Whatever money you get, give something to the Lord. Like for example, you are an actor. Yes. You make a nice short movie, short film, educating people about spiritual sciences. How to deal with difficult people. Exactly. How to have emotional care. Yeah. How to have practical spirituality in day-to-day life. How to sing Hare Krishna. So, and in this way you make nice short movies, and in this way you are using your talent of acting in the service of the Lord. If in case you become an IAS officer, or you become a politician, now you have the power. So you can use this power to have grand festivals for the Lord. Why not? So that's why we don't have to give up desires. We don't have to become desireless. We have to spiritualize our desires. There are, so to say, spiritualists. They say, just give up these desires. Give up these desires. But desire is an inherent quality of the soul. And because it's an inherent quality of the soul, that means the soul cannot become desireless. That's like saying, having a milk without its whiteness. How can we separate whiteness from the milk? It's an inherent quality of the milk. Similarly, consciousness, feelings, desires, it's an inherent quality of the soul. So the desires becomes absolutely zero? No. Material desires are to be given up, and then spiritual desires are to be cultivated. Also, we are to spiritualize our desires. We are to spiritualize our ambitions. That's it. So that way you would see that bhakti is so very practical. It doesn't ask you to renounce the world. It recommends you to spiritualize your world. It is not the world which binds us. It is a materialistic existence and materialistic attachment which binds us. More we spiritualize it, even this world doesn't bind you. We live in the material world, but not in a worldly way, but in a spiritual way. Right? So desires don't have to be renounced. They have to be dovetailed towards the Supreme Lord in love, in devotion. That's it. And that's very practical as well. Everybody can do that. Yes. And that's the way to liberation.
Now, for a long time, reincarnation has been an intriguing concept for me. From my own past and observing my patterns, the idea of past lives becomes true for me. What do our ancient scriptures say about reincarnation? And is there any proof or evidence of this?
So there is a person known as Ian Stevenson. He has done research on more than 1,000 case studies of reincarnation. There was also one TV serial on the television, somewhere around say 2006 or 5 or so. And so this lady who was past regression specialist. Yeah. So past life regression specialist. So she would hypnotize the person and let the person enter the subconscious mind. Because he would have abnormal dreams, and then he would enter the subconscious mind, and there are some past life memories as well. Like there was one person, he said that often in his dreams he sees fire. And then he gets up. Okay, so now in this past life regression therapy, she made this person enter his subconscious mind. And then he said, okay, and then she said, well, what are you saying now? He said, well, I'm flying in a flight. And where is this flight going? Well, this flight This flight is going to Nepal, Kathmandu. Okay, how is the weather? Well, there is turbulence and there is an announcement that please tie your safety belts. Okay, so what next? And then he got up. He saw the same fire because actually that flight met with an accident. It collided with one of the mountains. And same thing was happening. So when it was investigated, they actually checked on such and such date, there was a flight going to Kathmandu on this seat number. Such a person was actually sitting. There was turbulence. Proven fact. Second, birthmarks. Often people carry birthmarks. Yeah. So in case when people have birthmarks means something was there as a sanskar in the mind, because in next life gross body stays here, but subtle body goes to the next life. That means my mind, body and intelligence along with soul goes to the next body. So because that sanskar which is there as a groove on the mind is there in now the next body, so next body can manifest as a mark on the next body.
Okay.
Yeah. So somebody can say, well, by chance it happens. Somebody is having a mark here and you are now connecting it to some wound in past life. Well, that can be just chance as well. So now that Ian Stevenson, he says that we can divide the body part in 112 parts. 112. That means if somebody gets a wound in this life and having the mark in the same place, as for probability in mathematics, the chances are 1 upon 112. Right? So there was one case, the person had 7 marks on his body. And the previous life, as he was a gangster, so there was stabbing, so the person marked in 7 places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exactly in the same places. If somebody says, well, it happened by chance. Now by probability logic, the chance is 1 upon 112 raised to the power 7. That means it is negligible. By chance. For details, I would recommend to the readers one masterpiece book on this subject. Is Demystifying Reincarnation. It is full of such case studies. Absolutely amazing book. And the author of the book is Chaitanya Charan. Okay. So it's available on Amazon. They can get a PDF copy or get a hard copy, paperback copy for themselves. Demystifying Reincarnation. It's awesome book. I just give a summary of that book here, explaining this reincarnation thing. But yes, reincarnation is there. Some of the Abrahamic religions, they don't have the concept of reincarnation. They say this is the only life. It's a test of God. If you pass the test, you go to Jannat, you go to heaven. Yeah. If you fail the test, you go to Jahannam, you go to hell. Yeah. And that too for eternity. Yeah. Because such religions are inspiring the people to become moral. Hey, be good. You want to go to heaven now? Be good. So that's why they don't get into much details of reincarnation. They don't do that. Again, so reincarnation is there as per Bhagavad Gita, as per case studies, as per modern contemporary case studies, logically, sensibly speaking, there is reincarnation. Buddhism little bit gets into reincarnation, but ultimately it gets into self-annihilation. But life is eternal. The soul is eternal. That means it is beginningless and endless. There can be material existence, and within material existence there can be repeated birth. As Lord Krishna says, Punaravartino Arjuna, there can be repeated birth. It can happen. And we have such case studies also. There was King Bharat who got attached to a deer. Remembering the deer, he died. And that's why he got the body of a deer in next life. Being in the deer body, took association of devotees, became Jwal Bharat, and then became spiritually perfect. So there are such case studies as well in scriptures also. They clearly explain that there is reincarnation. So depending on the state of consciousness which we have, we get the next body. And the karmas which we accumulate in this life, we get next body, again next body. But this 84 lakh species of traveling into different species, different bodies, it come to a halt when we take to bhakti, when we take to devotion. So there is reincarnation, and then there is spiritual existence as well.
These days, one of the biggest addictions of the youth is pornography. What do you have to say about that, Prabhuji? What is our youth leading to?
In India, 89% data is used for watching porn. Even USA watches 85% and Brazil 81%. So India is leading the world in watching porn, and that's very sad. Our youth, 89% data. That means if I have 100 GB data, 89 GB would be used in watching porn. So it's a sad reality, of course. But how to quit watching porn? One of the students which we have in one of the colleges, he was mentioning that he was addicted to watching porn, and from 10 p.m. till 5 a.m. he would watch porn. That means 7 hours, because he's in college. So in college hostels, fast speed internet, Ethernet is there, fast speed internet. So he would just watch porn. But once we had one summer camp, youth camp with the youths, and he was part of it. And practicing spirituality for a few days, he came to his senses. He said, well, I'm watching the same thing again and again. Is what the dog and the she-dog they're doing on the streets, is what human beings are doing, and all the videos what I'm seeing. And one porn star, she gave her interview. Now she has quit the porn industry. She said, actually what we show in the videos, it is retake again and again. It is not that, although this video is 25 minutes, but actually the whole thing is for a couple of minutes. But it is shown by different postures, and this 25 minutes thing. And the person thinks that I would also enjoy in a similar way. But whole thing, it doesn't last sometimes even not more than even a minute. So it's a retake and retakes, and many retakes are there in many days. It's an illusion. And then many things are there in making a video for porn websites. But because people are watching, so that's why it's a proper industry. There is $2.16 billion industry of sex toys inspired by porn.
Wow.
But what's the result of watching porn? The result, firstly, that I lose my focus. I have a book, but I'm addicted to watching porn. For me, opposite gender is just an object. For me, woman is just an object. And for a woman, man is just an object. When we start seeing the other person only as an object, we would be lonely. And that's why you see that nowadays marriages are dwindling. Why? Because people have same expectations as they have seen in the porn video. So they try to superimpose that which is not the reality onto the reality.
Exactly.
And then they are not satisfied. And when they are not satisfied, then there is frustration, there is anger, and then speaking ill words to the other person, and then they get divorced. And many of the youngsters, while watching porn, they also do masturbation. So they are wasting their vital energy. More we waste our vital energy, then what happens? More we become carnal, animalistic, exploitative, loud. This happens. So while watching porn, and this way I do not need other person now. That means I don't need my wife, I don't need my husband, because through this artificial way I can just fulfill my need. So in this way, even for a selfish reason, if they were staying together, now there is no reason to stay together. Although we should have physical intimacy, we should have emotional intimacy, we should also have spiritual intimacy. But even if there is no emotional intimacy and there is no spiritual intimacy, at least they were living together for physical intimacy. Although it's a selfish reason. At least they were living for this third class reason. But now there is not even a third class reason to be there with each other. And that's why they tend to separate themselves from each other. So that's why relationships, they are dwindling because of watching porn. Also what's happening, because repeatedly one watches porn, so one is not learning also anything new. I'll not go to YouTube to see some tutorial to learn some kind of skill, to get some kind of spiritual knowledge, because I'm spending my time in watching porn. That's it. So that's also one more disadvantage we get. In fact, in 2014, when Narendra Modi ji, when he came to power, when the BJP came to power, so they banned all the porn websites in India, so that nobody can open any porn website. We Indians, we said, no, we want to watch some dirty stuff, please. We created such hue and cry that they have to allow some of the porn websites. So they would open it by using some kind of proxy server. So actually we are at fault. That even though government is trying to help us, that we should not get addicted to such things, but we create such hue and cry, no, we want to watch, we want to see this. And the result is that we see that children are losing focus. In many of the colleges, we see why they are shifting to grading system, or they give grace marks, because they know that they are not studying. Yeah. And because of this, all of these crimes, they are increasing. Why? Because somebody is watching porn for hours and hours. Now he wants to live it also. I want to live it. I want to execute it, what I saw. And because of this, these crimes based on sexuality, sex crimes against women, they are happening. Yeah. So that's also one more disadvantage which we get. The crime is increasing. Even one of the boy, he was saying that even when he looks at his mother and sister, he looks them lustfully. Just see the kind of deprogramming. Somebody can be lusty towards somebody else in the street, understood. But towards one's mother and sister. Why this is happening? Because I am watching something which is educating my mind to be lustful, to be exploitative, to see opposite gender irrespective of the relationship.
Yeah, it's like training your mind.
Training the mind in a wrong direction. He said, Prabhuji, I want to confess something. I even look lustfully towards my mother and sister. I'm so crazy. What should I do? This is what porn has done to me. I become absolutely an animal. So porn actually dehumanizes us. Yeah, we are not even sane. What to speak of spiritual? We are got absolutely insane. This is what is happening. So porn makes person absolutely abnormal. So that's why it's a self-hallucination. It's I would say, self-deception. Regularly, we are training ourselves into self-deception by watching porn. So what are the things which you should do? Well, one can say, I get attracted to porn when I'm alone. And I watch, say, on my mobile phone. So that's why get a phone, just a simple phone. It's a simple feature phone that you can get for yourself. Whatever internet you have to approach, you have to go for, then you go in a public area. There can be a laptop or a desktop in public area. You have your emails and all that. WhatsApp, you open there and reply. Perfectly fine. That's one way. True. So someone can say, well, that's not practical, getting that small phone, feature phone. Yeah. Get a phone then without internet. No, or you have a smartphone, no internet. Because through internet, all of these prostitutes enter our world. That's true. Earlier, people had to go to prostitute. There's a red light area, then they had to visit the prostitute. But now prostitutes, they enter through this technology, through internet. So in a mobile phone, no internet. Little inconvenience would be there, but life was going on normal even before internet. That's true. So that's why one can live life. In case you want to have internet, then there should be parental control. That means each of the click is getting reported somewhere. Like even in my phone, there is Kaspersky Safe Kids app. Somebody can say, well, I am not a kid. How can I am having such an app? No. Even mistakenly, one may not go somewhere where we should not be going. Yeah, so in our monastery, each and every monk is having this Kaspersky Safe Kids. And there are many other such apps that are available. And they're not costly, they're very economical. We pay, I think that we give 5,000 rupees every year for 15 users or 12 users, something like that is there. But that's very good. All of my net surfing is getting reported. And then once in a month, we have this projector screen. Mm-hmm. And on that projector screen, we scroll history of all the devotees. So that means your net surfing has become public. So they would have a folder of Amogh Lila Das. And okay, everyone see, let's where all Amogh Lila Prabhu went in past 1 month through internet. Double click and then history is there. So when this is not there, I can delete my history in my web browser. Tools, internet options, delete history, delete cookies, press OK. Yes, now nobody can see me. Where did I go? Excuse me, sir. Kaspersky Safe Kids. So there are many such apps, and then you make your web browsing public. And then there is scrolling. Okay. So there all you went. Oh. So that's very good for us. Yeah. In this way, we minimize also. In case in our monastery, even somebody is spending time on YouTube. Yeah. So 3 hours on YouTube. We ask, what's wrong with you? 3 hours on YouTube? Yeah. Oh, so sorry. Studying scriptures, chanting holy name. Oh, yes. So even which is not dirty, still we are to regulate our time being spent on internet. That's true. Yeah. Like what I do sometimes I just place my phone above the almirah where it is difficult to approach. Nice. Just 3 times in a day, I can just open, reply my WhatsApp messages, again place it there. Don't keep it with yourself. So in this way, distancing ourselves from the smartphone, mobile phone, that's also very important.
I totally agree.
Yeah. So more it is near you, it's like, a heavenly damsel sitting to you and then you are getting allured again and again. Yeah. So maintaining distance. And then I can read. I can have a book before my face. Otherwise, there is only Facebook. Yeah. But before the face, there should be a book as well. Yeah. So for that, Facebook should be distanced. That's required. So in this way, we can regulate our time being spent, especially watching porn. It's such a disaster at all levels. Pornography destroys us.
Yeah, because we're also.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. It's such an honor having you on this podcast, and thank you for being here. I hope many of the youth get to see this video and get to learn a lot from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Aryan.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.